right, Eric, we should be live right now, trying out for the first time a brand new live stream. How you feeling tonight, Eric?
Oh, I'm feeling just peachy.
Talking NFL Combine tonight, and also we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna do a little mock draft. So, Eric, I know you were pretty much glued in front of the TV all weekend, so I'm gonna let you talk. You want to talk Kyler first? Do you want to talk DK Metcalf first? Our boy Hakeem Butler. How do you want to start it off here?
I'm gonna give some love to the guys who went today. The linebacker, there were D linemen running like 4.4s. I saw Montez Sweat run a 4.42. Are you kidding me? That guy's like 280 or 270. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Devin White. Oh my God, he's just Quinnen Williams. He ran like a 4.8 at like 90 pounds. This is the scariest thing I've ever seen. Like, these guys are moving. Like, at this point, the offensive linemen are just going to be like, what the hell are we supposed to do here? Eric Ebron had one of the best tweets of the weekend. He's like, we got linebackers and D linemen and safeties out here running like 4.4s. I got to put down the honey buns. I thought that was hilarious.
Just another reason to love Eric Ebron.
A lot of good work.
Like we needed one.
Absolutely. But yeah, and on the offensive side of the ball, obviously, well, the running backs disappointed. The running backs actually really disappointed me. Like I don't think a single one of them really looked that great at the combine. What does that mean? Who knows? Who knows?
I don't think it means anything, because what did we expect from the running backs? They're not doing anything different than what we expected, right?
True. Very true.
I mean, but my boy Rodney Anderson put up, what, 25 on the bench?
Did he? I didn't even know he worked
Rodney
out.
Anderson put up 25 on the bench.
Did he run the 40?
I don't think he ran. No.
He didn't run. The two guys who helped himself the most were Miles Sanders had the best running back workout of all of them. He looked the best.
Did you catch NFL Network comparing him to Alvin Kamara? I was like, don't do him like that. Don't already put him in that box. He's good, and you know I like Miles Sanders. My man Miles Sanders retweeted me, so that my real man Saquon Barkley retweeted me, so you know I'm high on Miles Sanders no matter what. But don't put him in a box next to Kamara. Don't do that to him.
Yeah. Somebody's already calling him Barkley Light. I'm like, can we calm down
weak.
here?
That's so weak. They just went to the same school.
We gotta,
and yeah, they're cool. They trained together because they have that connection. Don't make him that. Let him be his own thing.
Yeah, but he helped his stock a lot this week, and I thought my man Mike Weber was one of the better running back workouts.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Were there pass protection drills? I must have missed that.
There aren't, but there should be. I'll be writing a letter. But yeah, and the one who like plummeted his stock was Holyfield, Elijah Holyfield.
Oh my gosh, dude! What was it, a 4.8 or a 4.7 or something?
He ran a 4.8 for a running back. Montez Sweat, like 270 pounds as a D lineman, ran a 4.42. So like, oh dear God,
Holyfield did not get it done for himself. He did not get it done for himself. But I think though, and I know people are dogging Metcalf a little bit because of what his 3-cone or some of the agility drills that he did today. Yeah. But how about the fact we said all offseason, all DK has to do is show up and be healthy at the combine, and he would elevate himself into the wide receiver 1 conversation. And he did that. So I don't understand why, and he ran a great 40 time. I think people are finding reasons to be angry with DK Metcalf at this point. And I'm just going to put this out there right now. If you compare him to Kevin White, which is one of the comparisons I saw, we're not friends. We can't be friends.
Yeah, no, I don't like that comparison.
That's terrible.
Look, I thought he did. Yeah, he did what he came to do. He got done what we thought he would do, and that's fine by me. I will say this. I completely understand if you have him as your wide receiver 1. The guy literally looks like a tank. He's built like he is a tank. For me, though, what this combine did for me, N'Keal Harry's my 101. He solidified it for me.
Harry looked good.
Best work.
Yeah.
Final note, Ja'Kai Polite from Florida. Ooh. Yeah, he's going to fall big time after what he said about the 49ers. I think it was the 49ers. He had an interview with the team, and he's like, yeah, they weren't interested at all in me at all. Like, it was bad, man. Like, it was Kyler Murray on the Dan Patrick Show-esque bad.
And
like, oh dear God.
And what is he hoping for? Does Ja'Kai Polite think he's going to be the second overall pick? Because that ain't the case. There is a much better chance of Ja'Kai Polite being the 34th, the 35th overall pick than he does being the second overall pick. Like, come on, man. And he is that he's that mid-first, late first round territory, but this is the same guy, Eric, that reports have been that he's a bad teammate at Florida, negative locker room chemistry. And when you're coming out and doing this in the interviews, all you're doing is reassuring and validating the people telling you that. It's one of the great examples. I'm glad you brought it up, Eric. People talk, does the combine really help you? Does the combine really hurt you? I think it could hurt you more than it can help you, and Ja'Kai Polite's a perfect example of that.
I agree. He's going to plummet. He's falling. He's definitely falling out of the first round now, and I could see him falling all the way to the third. Like,
but he's a good value. But he's a good player, and so if he does fall to the second or third, listen, man, I'm cool. I'm cool with the Giants taking him in the second, truly. I know chemistry is a big deal, and we gotta look into that, make sure the character concerns aren't too wild, but he's a good player, man. And he's first-round talent. So if he's going to talk himself out of the first round, that's fine. Pay him less, and let's get him on the team.
Mm-hmm. All right. I agree.
Before we jump into the mock draft, Eric, because I want to make sure we do that, a quick reaction mock draft coming off the combine. We got to talk about a guy who didn't even throw at the combine. I don't think he did anything. Did Kyler Murray do anything at this combine, Eric?
He did the most important thing to do. Interview.
He interviewed. But the most...
Kyler, and some answers I was like, better.
The most frustrating thing for me with Kyler was that he was down on the field. Like, he would huddle up with the quarterbacks before they did their drills. He just wouldn't actually participate. So that was frustrating for me. But I want to talk about, Eric, the rumors that are coming out that Cliff Kingsbury has come out and said it's a, quote, done deal that Arizona is going to take him with the first overall pick. I think it is all smoke and mirrors. It's total hype game. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? There is no way that Arizona goes out and actually takes Kyler Murray with the first overall pick.
Can I save my answer for the mock draft?
Oh, no! Oh, all right.
I think it's going to happen. I'll give you my reasoning when we start the mock draft.
Well, hey, man, why don't we go ahead and jump into it? Because I put you first overall, so... Eric, we'll go ahead. We'll start the mock draft portion. Do you have like the little oh, that's the ESPN. What's like the draft? It's like, you know what I'm talking about. The little. There you go. I knew you knew it. I knew you knew it. Oh man,
it's the best sound in the world. I can't wait to hear that again.
So you're really doing this.
Look, I'm not saying I support it. All right, I would not give up on Rosen. First of all, I'm not even thinking this is Arizona giving up on Rosen. Like, people are like, oh, if you give up on him this quick, you take Kyler, it plummets Rosen's trade value. Like, no, it doesn't. It's just that Kingsbury wants his guy. And that's why I'd be somewhat okay with this. Look, man, when you're an NFL head coach, the number one thing they always talk about, I want my guy, not your guy. I don't want to make it work with your guy. I'm sure he could make it work with his guy. Like, Kingsbury could make it work with Rosen. He absolutely could. But something just tells me he's in love with this guy. And you want to know what that something is? He said it himself. So I'm going to give him Kyler. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to end up taking him. The biggest problem with this whole situation for me is, what's Rosen's value? Like, I really don't know. I don't like, people are like, oh, take Kyler at 1, have the Giants trade you 6. Like, the Giants are not giving up 6 for Josh Rosen. That's not happening. Like, are you content taking 2? Are you content taking the 32nd pick from the Pats, which I think could be on the board, but like anything 15 and above is not happening. Like, that's just not going to happen. That's the bigger roadblock in the situation. What do you do with Rosen? What are you going to accept for him? But I just think Kingsbury's in love with Kyler. I think he wants him. Like I said, I don't necessarily support it, but I could see why. So
I think he's playing you, Eric, like he's playing everyone else. He's trying to get somebody to trade up because Arizona has a ton of holes, and the last thing they need to do is draft a position that they already have filled. Josh Rosen did not get a fair shake last season playing behind a terrible offensive line in a first-year offensive system. He's going to be playing in another first-year offensive system, but hopefully this is one that's built a little bit more to his skill set, which I would imagine is something that Arizona vetted when they brought Kingsbury in. That air raid offense is similar to a college-style scheme. I'm not positive what UCLA plays, and I thought they were a little bit more of a pro-style offense, so I could be wrong on that side of the things. But, Eric, that brings me to my next point here. We're going to move on. You picked Kyler Murray, number 1 overall, so I'm going to look at number 2 here. That's the San Francisco 49ers. Now, logic would say it's got to be Bosa because he's easily the best player available right now. If this was the actual situation in the NFL draft, I would be willing to throw down a stack of cash, Eric, to say that the 49ers would trade back here. Because defensive line isn't necessarily what they need right now, but we're not doing trades, and so it's got to be Bosa coming off the board 2nd overall here to the San Francisco 49ers. You don't pass on a guy like Bosa. I'm sorry, you just don't do it.
I have a question, okay, and I want to propose this now, so it's early and it's out there. How high is too high for Metcalf? Because I think however you feel about him in the fantasy world, I think after that combine he's going to be the first wide receiver off the board. Oh yeah, and I'd be surprised if he's not within the top 15 picks. Is too high for him? Like, what if they just shock us and be like, okay, we're going to take Metcalf?
Here's the thing. I do think 2 is too high. But in a situation where the 49ers could move back, I could see them moving back to, I'm looking at a team that might need a quarterback. I mean, literally right before we got on here, Eric, the, quote, breaking news was Jacksonville is expected to sign Foles. I don't think that stops them from taking a quarterback. So you look at a team at 7 in Jacksonville. I'm not going to throw the New York Giants in there, but I guess hypothetically, yeah. Denver at 10, even with Joe Flacco. Miami at 13. Washington at 15. All of those teams could be trying to move up for a quarterback, especially if a quarterback goes number 1 off the board, right? Because then it's even more important that they move up and get their guy. So I can see the 49ers moving back into any of those draft positions I just listed out, 7, 6, 10, 13, 15. Metcalf is reasonable at all of those spots. I think realistically the earliest Metcalf could go is 4 to the Raiders. And now I'm not saying I think the Raiders are going to do that, but I think that is realistically as high as he could go because we know how Oakland ownership feels about their fast wide receivers here, and they have nothing. They have nothing there, and they got 2 other picks in the first round. So if they're not interested in quarterback, which everything from the interviews at the Combine suggested they're not interested in quarterback, then DK Metcalf at 4 is reasonable. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but it's reasonable.
All right, that's fair.
You got the Jets here. The only thing.
All right, yeah, we'll move on. We'll get into this more as we go along because I don't want to bring up trade.
We sure will.
Value chart. Let's just not get into that. And this is pretty easy for me. Quinnen Williams. Yep. I want them to. If Quinnen Williams is here for the Jets, they need a pass rusher. I think that's a bigger need than the O-line at the moment. They're going to end up taking Quinnen Williams. They'll probably run up to the board or the stage if that's the case. So I'm going to plug in Mr. Alabama freak over here, Quinnen Williams to the Jets at 3.
Oh, this puts me, I mean, here's Oakland at 4, right? Here's Oakland at 4, and Metcalf's an option. I don't know if I can do this because when you're looking at building a roster, Eric, and you're taking a team from the bottom up, the positions you really got to focus on, in my opinion, are quarterback, defensive lineman, because that's what this game is about. So first and foremost, it's about throwing the ball and chasing the guys who throw the ball. And then you're looking at offensive line and you're looking at defensive backs, primarily corners. So for me, it's got to be one of those options. And for Oakland, I'm going to give them a quick reaction to the draft, Eric. And Brian Burns showed up well at the Combine this week. And so I'm going to give him Brian Burns, number 4 overall. Get a guy who can attack the quarterback. You're filling the void lost by the Mac trade. Well, as much as you can fill that void. literal void on the field.
He ran a stupid fast 40, right? Didn't he run like a 4? Another one who ran a 4.4, I believe.
Showed some freak athletic potential, which is at the edge rusher position. I mean, you're right. It's a reason we love Montez Sweat, and his draft stock may rise after this. So Brian Burns, I liked what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Why do I always get stuck with the Bucs?
If anybody's trading back in the top 5, it's Tampa Bay. But I know we're not doing trades, Eric, so I'll save you that. But I know what you're going to say, and you're right. Tampa Bay absolutely can trade back.
I hate picking Tampa Bay. God. There's literally so many ways I can go with this.
Give him the guy you want to give him. I know who you want to give him.
Who do I want to give him?
Who's the guy that you love way more than I do?
I don't know. Who do I love more than you?
Defensive back that you love way more than I do.
Oh, Greedy?
Greedy, man.
Nah, Greedy's going to Denver. Oh, you picked for Denver. Never mind.
Now he's not going to Denver. Now Greedy's going in the second round. Here.
Greedy's not going in the second round.
I mean,
what do you not like about Greedy?
We're looking at defensive back, Eric. We're looking at reinforcement on the offensive line. I would probably go offensive line with them, but you can go defensive line. I mean, there's plenty of holes in Tampa, but as long as you don't go wide receiver, I guess you're fine.
I'm not going offensive line because I want to see what you do when Jonah Williams is on the board with the Giants. You better do the right thing. I'm going to give them Devin White. I think they're going to fall.
Okay, I actually really like that pick. And White did very well for himself this weekend as well. Showed some high speed caliber there with that 40 time.
And they have holes everywhere, so just dartboard it.
All right, Eric. The guy, honestly, there's a few options here, and it speaks towards the offensive line class. First and foremost, if this is the first time you're listening to me talk about the Giants and their draft needs, I'm just going to say it very clearly. They are not taking a quarterback in the first round. That would be ridiculous. There's also a lot of talk, Eric, about the Giants going defense in the first round, and I see that, but I don't. I get the need. I think it's legit. I think we got to address it in the second and third rounds, perhaps, not in the first round. We need help on the offensive line. And so for me, I am actually, this is tough. So here are the options. Jawan Taylor is I think slots into a perfect right tackle spot, which is good because we have Nate Solder on the left side. Jonah Williams has the ability to either be a left, so naturally he's a left tackle. So are we going to flip him to the right side with the potential of moving him inside to guard because of his frame? Cody Ford has that same potential, but Cody Ford's a little bit more naturally a right tackle. So in terms of fit, I think what we need the most is Cody Ford, because he has the ability to play right tackle or move inside. But Eric, Jawan Taylor would probably be my next, and then Jonah Williams last out of those three, only because he'd have to learn and flip to the other side of the line from what he's used to playing. So I'm going to go Cody Ford here, but if I see Ford, Williams, or Taylor come off the board for the Giants on draft night, I'll be a happy fan.
I agree. Definitely should go offensive line. Worth noting that they are looking into trading Olivia Vernon now. So that, couple that with the fact that there are some holes on the defense, I could see why they would go defensive line. They're also the Giants. They take like 7 linemen a year, so could happen. Who knows?
That's the over and under.
I want them to go. What?
That's the over and under. 2.5 defensive linemen every year for the Giants. That is a fair line to gamble every single year. And if you take the over, you'll probably be good.
I think I'm taking the over this year. Yeah. Especially with this class.
Let's get to it with Jacksonville here. I know we think we got the Nick Foles news. It's not confirmed. Obviously, free agency hasn't happened yet. You can take that into account or choose not to take that into account.
Here's the thing. If they're going to sign Foles, I got to believe it's at least like 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if that's worth taking. Like, would they take Haskins, make him sit for 2 to 3 years into the rookie contract? I don't really think they would.
I think there's two ways of looking at it. You could either say, hey, that makes perfect sense, right? We have this developmental class, 2 years behind Nick Foles. great teacher, great character, or what you could say, probably, Eric, what I would say, and judging by your reaction, what you would say, wait till next year or the year after. Yeah. Wait till Foles' contract runs out and you can get Trevor Lawrence, if that team is still in the situation. And I think a lot of people think Nick Foles can get him to elevate him out of that situation.
Yeah, if the Foles news is true, I just don't see it happening. And with that, like, we've been mocking quarterback to Jacksonville literally all offseason. I don't even know if anybody else has mocked anything else. I could have some fun here and throw Metcalf their way, but I'm not going to do that.
I thought that's what you were going to do.
Close, but no. I'm going to give him Jonah Williams. Just get him off the board. He should not be falling that far.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, boy.
On Detroit.
Here's another spot, I guess. If you were having fun, DK Metcalf could come off the board. But I think I'm going to keep him. I think I'm going to keep him sweating in his suit there at his little table with his agent and all of his buddies, because I want to take Josh Allen, another edge here for Detroit. I think, we're thinking Matt Patricia, we're thinking defensive guy, and we're thinking Detroit really needing to rebuild this roster and infuse some of those core elements like I was talking about earlier. Pass rusher is one of them. Josh Allen is a beast, a huge senior season at Kentucky, and so I like him at 8 right here.
And that brings us to Buffalo. Buffalo's another team that we've been mocking one position to, and it's been all wide receivers. Now, I want to look something up before I do this, because I believe the Bills have a lot of draft picks in this draft. I believe they have – hold on. Got it right here. 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They got 10 draft picks this year. All right. Mm-hmm. That tells me that wide receiver is so deep. Maybe instead of going here, like, they could take Metcalf. Definitely could take Metcalf. I think he's an option here. Sure, they have a need at corner, but I'm not taking a defensive player for Buffalo right now. Their defense is good enough. They really, really need offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to go with the third offensive lineman off the board in the first 10 picks here, 9 picks. Let's give them, Andre Dillard had a hell of a weekend at the Combine. He had a really good workout. I'm going to give them Andre Dillard.
Oh, my, oh, man, Juwan Taylor getting slandered by this mock draft here. Oh, man.
Eric, he didn't go in the first 10 picks. He'll go, don't worry.
Yeah, wow. All right. Eric, I kind of want to... I understand why you would pick a cornerback in this situation, and if I was being honest with myself, I think Greedy Williams definitely could come off the board here. I think Byron Murphy would also be an option to come off the board here. I think it's a little high for DeAndre Baker, even though I like DeAndre Baker. But Eric, I want to have a little bit of fun here, and I want to give their offense some high-flying potential. That's also going to help them. It's a position that they have not been able to solidify for a long time. Eric, I'm going to give the Denver Broncos TJ Hawkinson here. Let's give him a tight end that can both get it done blocking, help out Royce Freeman or Phillip Lindsay, or both, whoever's going to be playing in that role this year, but also contribute to the passing game for Joe Flacco. He's used to having tight ends that he can rely on.
I like that. Outside the box pick. They've been a 0 at that position since Julius Thomas left.
Pour one out for Jake Butt, man. Pour one out for Jake Butt.
Just never had a chance.
We'll always be Butt guys.
Always be big Butt guys. Cincinnati. Dwayne Haskins is sitting right here.
You know I love that pick.
I think it's a match made in heaven. Dwayne Haskins, little mediocre. Why not throw him into Cincinnati? Makes too much sense.
It's just mediocre enough for Cincinnati. I love that, Eric. I really do. The hometown, keeping the hometown kid, the quote hometown. He's actually from Maryland, about 30 minutes south of Baltimore here, where I'm at. So, but in terms of the last 3, I believe he played 2 seasons in a red shirt. So the last 3 years he's been in Ohio. Ohio State fans, let me tell you, if you try to dog Haskins on Twitter, Ohio State fans will get you. So kind of keeping it in the state, I like that. That leaves me in an interesting spot here, Eric, with Green Bay. I know Hawkinson's been a popular mock draft to Green Bay. I'm going to go secondary here, and Deontay Thompson, I think, is going to have to be the pick. I think they did a really good job of getting 2 cornerstone corners last year in the draft, but I think it's time to go ahead and get that safety help that they desperately need as well. They can address some of the other gaps in the offense and whatnot a little bit later on in the draft.
Love the continuity of the Green Bay secondary draft because that's what they definitely need. All right, Miami. Here's the thing. I'm going to put a nail in your coffin for the whole Miami trading up scenario. They have openly come out this year and said, we're going to tank. Like, they know. They're like, we're not going to be the greatest team this year. We do not want to be good. 2020 has an amazing quarterback draft class. We're not going to take a quarterback this year. Like, and especially if Haskins and Murray are off the board by the time they get to them, I just don't see it. Like, sure, they could trade up, but it makes no – if you're going to say you're going to tank and then you take a quarterback this year, you're not tanking. So quarterback's off the board for me. That doesn't mean they still don't need a good wide receiver. Why did I know he was just going to end up in this damn division? I'm going to put Metcalf to them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Unfortunately, I don't know who's throwing it to him, but we'll say Metcalf.
That's what I was going to say, dude. If Foles isn't going, I mean, I'm trying to think of another. I mean, Teddy. Are they gonna make the move on Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, I'm trying to think of other quarterbacks that could be potentially landing there at a free agency, because if they're not going to address it in the first round of the draft, they're not going to get a pro-ready quarterback.
If they really do make him available, Miami, first team to call Arizona. Maybe the second with Washington.
I just want to point out, Eric, this might be like we're going to end up with, I think, probably just 3 quarterbacks in this first round. That's probably really light compared to what most people are doing, but we don't play by the rules. All right. Speaking of which, the Atlanta Falcons are up next. Here's the thing. Atlanta needs help on the offensive line. They could use a big D tackle in there as well, but I don't think they have to get it right now. They really need more help interior. I mean, Juwan Taylor's on the board, and so I'm tempted to take the tackle, but I'm going to take the guy who also is technically a tackle, but he can really move inside, and I think he's probably going to find his forte. He's a guy I really like. I think he's a high character guy, and I think he's got a great motor when he plays. I'm taking Dalton Risner here to Atlanta, the technically offensive tackle, but I think there's a good chance he can play guard in the NFL. So 14 overall, Dalton Risner out of Kansas State.
Love guys who have position versatility, especially on the offensive line. And very handy.
I love the way he approaches it. He's come out in all of his interviews. I've listened to a few interviews with him, and he says, listen, I love playing tackle. That's where I feel comfortable with most right now. If a team wants me to play guard, if a team wants me to play center, I'm there. I'm playing it for them. So I love that. I love that approach. Be confident in what you are, but be versatile. Be willing to adapt.
That just made me a huge Dalton Risner fan.
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 15, the Salt Lake Stallions. Struggling Salt Lake Stallions.
Oh, boy.
Definitely need a quarterback. Not looking great. I believe they're 1-3.
You going to clarify for any first-time listeners, or are you just going to roll with this?
No, just roll with it. You better know by now. Okay, fine. We yeeted the Redskins to the AAF, and we adopted the Salt Lake Stallions into the NFL because, nobody likes Washington.
It is a direct reflection of how we feel about Dan Snyder as an owner. 100%.
Yes. Okay, Salt Lake Stallions. Definitely need a quarterback. Okay, realistically, bring Washington back into this. There have been reports that they like Locke, so
as they should.
I guess we're going to go Locke.
Locke looked great at the Combine this weekend. And listen, I get these other quarterbacks taking it their way. I understand you don't necessarily need to go and work out if you're already looking good or whatnot, but Drew Lock has done it all the right way. He's gone into Senior Bowl week. He looked good in Senior Bowl week. He interviewed well. He went into the Combine. He looked good in the Combine. He interviewed well. I think it's going to pay off. He is grinding, and he's putting in the hard work.
I won't rain on your parade. You can go.
All right. I'll take it here. Again, Carolina, another team that could use interior offensive line help. I think Lindstrom here is a really good pick at guard. But I cannot let Jawaan Taylor fall any further. So although I think Carolina needs a little bit more help on the interior, they could also use some help outside at the tackle position. So Jawaan Taylor out of Florida, I think this is his absolute floor in this draft.
I like that. Maybe it's time to protect Cam because he's being held together by duct tape. So
truly, super glue at this point.
Get him to help. Right. All right, Cleveland. I'm gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna send N'Keal Harry their way because I just want that offense to just explode. Freddie Kitchens, N'Keal Harry, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Njoku. And, after like 10 to 12 games of getting suspended, Kareem Hunt. That's a fun little pick.
I swear I like more than offensive linemen here, but Minnesota needs help on the offensive line. Now I kind of wish I had Jawaan Taylor fall like 2 more spots because Minnesota would do backflips to get Jawaan Taylor at 18, but I'm going to give him Chris Lindstrom instead. I think it's still a really good player for them. He can help him on the inside. So Chris Lindstrom, the guard at Boston College.
I like it. After being in New England and a Patriots fan, I have to hear all about the Boston College guys, and Lindstrom is another one. He sounds like he's very good. All right, Tennessee. Could use a wide receiver. Could. But I don't think I'm going to go with that.
All right, well, okay then.
Ed Oliver's fallen far enough.
Oh my gosh! I totally missed that.
For Ed Oliver. Yeah, to be fair, Rashawn Gary is still on the board too, and I don't think he's making it to 20. So let's go with Ed Oliver and get out of the way.
Dude, good for you. That's a great call. I totally whiffed on Ed Oliver.
I just kept watching him fall further and further. I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It always happens with at least 1 or 2 players when we do this.
Yeah.
Speaking of 1 or 2 players, if this situation plays out exactly the way we just had it, and Pittsburgh's on the clock at number 20, and there still hasn't been a corner taken, they're doing backflips. They are running to this. They're not running to the stage. They are strapping a rocket to their back and flying up to the stage. Whichever corner you want to give them, just give them the corner.
I was gonna say I'm still gonna play Eric because I think they're a better fit for Byron Murphy. I really do. I think Byron Murphy. Although here I'm gonna give him Byron Murphy because that's who I would take. I think he's a safer prospect. I think he's going to be a good NFL player. I think he has a higher floor. Does Greedy Williams have a higher ceiling? Yes, but I don't think he's technically there. I think he is a very athletic player and he relies a lot on instinct and he gets the job done oftentimes. But I think Byron Murphy is a little bit more polished. That being said, Eric, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers thing to do to take the risky player. So if we were doing a predictive mock, I would give him Greedy for that reason. But me personally, I like Byron Murphy here.
It would be the Pittsburgh thing to do to take a wide receiver there. I saw a mocking DK Metcalf to them today. Please, God, no. That's just not right.
That's not fair.
They can't keep getting blessed with all these wide receivers. It's not fair. But, all right, on to Seattle. Got some weird needs in Seattle. I would say their offensive line got better last year, so I'm going to actually stay away from that. I think they could use a pretty solid defensive lineman. So, I got to end. I'm going to end 2 slides here. Rashawn Gary, there's no way. There's just no way he's falling out of the top 20, so I will put him to Seattle.
Man, there is a lot to consider here with Baltimore. Trying to keep up with what Baltimore is planning on doing in free agency, let me tell you, is not easy. There's a lot of pieces that they can move around, and there's a lot of rumors coming out about it. If Suggs, it's really going to depend on what happens. Weddle could possibly depart town. Suggs could depart town. They're probably not going to bring back both of those guys. Alex Collins just got cut last night or on Friday night. So there's a lot.
Isn't CJ Mosley also a free agent?
CJ Mosley is also a free agent, and it would really just leave Judon as the linebacker there. But inside linebackers really not the value at the back end of the first round here. I have to believe that they signed C.J. Mosley. I think they pay him and they make it worth it. But still, I don't think they're going to pay him and Suggs. Man. Devin Bush? I think I'm going to go Devin Bush here for Baltimore. I think they have to go defense in the first round. I would love for them to address the wide receiver position. I would love for Kelvin Harmon to end up in Baltimore. But I think with the depth of the wide receiver position in this class, it would be irresponsible and honestly not likely for Baltimore to do. I mean, truly, Baltimore does not prioritize the wide receiver position. When they do, it's a bad sign for those prospects, i.e. Brashad Perriman, i.e. every other wide receiver that they've taken in the first round. Always bust.
All right. Houston.
In the easiest decision of the draft.
You think a lineman, right?
Oh, it's gotta be.
That's what I'm thinking, but I feel like this might be too high for some of these guys. They really do have to go offensive lineman. I want to put Greedy there, but I'll go Greg Little. I'll give him Greg Little.
Okay.
They have to go offensive line. This is at this point, Deshaun Watson will be out of the league in 3 years because he's taken too many hits. That already happened once with a Houston quarterback. David Carr, very sorry.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Why you got to bring that back up?
That guy is still getting hit. Pretty sure.
Oh, man. Here we go. I'm on the board with Oakland now. This is an interesting spot because we've given them Brian Burns, and there's still a ton of need here. Man, I would have actually really liked Rashawn Gary if he had fallen to here. I don't love a wide receiver outside of Metcalf just because I don't think it fits. I could justify Harmon or Butler going at 24 overall, but I can't justify him fitting in with what the Raiders would be looking for, if that makes sense. So I'm going to avoid doing that. I am going to give him a weapon on the offensive side, though, Eric, because I think if they honestly want Carr to succeed, they got to put him in a position to succeed, and that's more than 100-year-old Jordy Nelson. So I'm going to give him Noah Fant out of Iowa. I think the highest athletic, offensive, pure pass-catching profile upside in this draft out of the tight end class. So really like Fant. I'm excited to get him off the board here to Oakland.
All right. I love Fant. I hate the landing spot. He will do nothing in Oakland. God damn it, Matt.
Okay. Nobody does. Nobody ever does.
Philadelphia. Everybody and their mother is putting a running back to Philadelphia. I don't want to do that.
Give them RB1.
I don't think any of these running backs deserve to be in the first round, to be honest. We're at the point where it's they should be in the second round. I don't think there's any first round running backs in this class. Corner. Ronald Darby's a free agent. Yeah, I'll end it here. I'll put Greedy to them. Your favorite player going to your favorite team.
Typical landing spot here. All right, I think it's easy for Indianapolis. I think it's so easy for Indianapolis. The only decision you got to make is if you're picking Harmon or Brown, and they're picking Harmon because he is the most polished NFL-ready player. We're looking at a running game that really needs support in all ways possible, and Kelvin Harmon is a great run blocker as well as a pass catcher and a route runner. So, oh man, I can't wait for Josh, our resident Colts fan at the Fanalysts, to go ahead and see this because he is going to be thrilled.
Okay. I do love that landing spot for Harmon. I would cry ugly tears if that actually happened. Okay, Oakland. I know it says O-lineman. That's the one thing we do. We gave him an offensive weapon. We gave him Brian Burns already. I think John Gruden is so mad about hearing all about this Khalil Mack trade that he's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to give you two of them. And I'm going to put Clellan Ferrell there because he's just sick and tired of hearing Khalil Mack this, Khalil Mack that. Also, Clellan Ferrell, Matt, another drop. That's not happening. He's not falling to 27. But for the Raiders' sake, good for them. Hold it. So we'll give him Clellan Ferrell and Brian Burns and Noah Fant. Whew. It's going to be hard for Oakland to not have a good first round. If you come out of this draft saying, that first round for Oakland just didn't go well, yikes. That's going to set the franchise back for at least 10 years.
Here it is, Eric. Easy pick for me right here. It's defensive line help for the Chargers. It's Dexter Lawrence, back-to-back Clemson players here. If Jeffrey Simmons didn't come with the history baggage and now the torn ACL, I think Jeffrey Simmons would fit in very well to what the Chargers need, and maybe they'd be willing to still invest their first-round pick in him. But I think for now, Dexter Lawrence is also a great prospect and comes with less injury history and less baggage as well.
I like it. I like Dexter Lawrence a lot. All right, Kansas City. They literally have to go one way. It's either DeAndre Baker or Nasir Adderley. I love Nasir Adderley because he apparently loves special teams. So that just makes me, immediately puts him on my radar for the Pats. But here with the Chiefs, they just need all secondary help. I'll give him Baker. I think they need the corner more.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to give him, man. I love Nasir.
Adderley could definitely go there. I would have no problem with that, but it's a neither or situation. I'll give him Baker. They really need a corner.
All right. Eric, that gives me Green Bay here. This is tough because we went safety earlier with Green Bay. I do think tight end's a priority for them as well, but at this point we'd have to give him Irv Smith. And as much as I like Irv Smith and I'd like to beat the drum on Irv Smith, I can't quite do it here. I'm trying to see here. Edge. Who do we got left on the edge here that's available? We still got Ja'Kai Polite. So how far do we think Ja'Kai Polite's going to fall? And we got Montez Sweat. I think even with a bad weekend, and listen, I know Montez Sweat looked fast this weekend, but we knew Montez Sweat was fast, all right? So I am still going to go with Ja'Kai Polite here, and I'm going to bring Polite to Green Bay. And you have to think between Polite and Thompson, they're going to love the infusion of talent. That's going to make an immediate impact on their defense.
Yes, perennial, amazing teammate Aaron Rodgers should mesh very well with Ja'Kai Polite. All right, on to the LA Rams.
Eric, do you want me to pick with LA here so you can pick with the Pats? I realized I gave myself the Ravens and the Giants and you didn't get the Pats.
No, because I want to see who you got going.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why I'd rather see who you got. I like when others pick the Pats, and then I like ripping them apart when it's a good pick. So the Rams, and this is why I want to stick with the Rams. You couldn't do it. I'm gonna do it. Irv Smith. I want the Rams to do that so bad. Okay. We are missing one part in that offense, and it's tight end. Just get Irv Smith and Jared Goff. Good Lord. That would be fun as hell. I would love that.
Okay. I think I know who I'm picking for the Pats here, Eric. I don't know if you'll approve, but I got my pick locked in, and before I make it, I want to know who you think I'm going to pick. Give me one guy. You get one guess who you think I'm going to pick in this situation.
Who I think you're going to pick?
Yeah.
Adderley. After I just said it, I don't think that's the way.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't. I'll say Wilkins.
Nope. I'm going Charles Omenihu here. I think he's the high character, he's the high motor type guy that I think Belichick will fit in with. I think he has the ability to play defensive end, but I think he's a pure tackle. But I think that versatility will be something that's appreciated on that defense. And he's a guy I really liked on film study, and I really liked him at Senior Bowl. So I think Omenihu is the type of guy that would fit in very well in New England.
Credit to you. I think I saw a report about him meeting with the Pats. So
boom. There we go. All right, Eric. That is a solid first round mock draft here. I want to, hopefully, this was our first shot at a stream. I hope it looked good. I think we're going live right now. Who knows? I'm pretty positive, but hopefully we're looking back on this and we'll be happy with the results. Hopefully you can see in the top sides of the screens our sponsors here. With our promo code TOP2, you can get a free $3 entry with with draft, or you can get 10% off any order at fantasychamps.com. That's any merchandise. That's football, that's baseball, that's basketball. You should see below us here, we got some Twitter handles for you to follow. And also, I'm rocking it right here. We are now live. We'll be tweeting out this link again real soon. You can go ahead and get some merchandise. We got some t-shirts right now, and we'll be hoping to expand that real soon. If you like this, go ahead and please hit subscribe on YouTube. I know there's not much on here now, but like I said, this is a new thing for us, and we're going to really be expanding this through draft season and cranking it out all the way through the summer, all the way into the regular season, get you all your fantasy football needs. So with that being said, also please subscribe to our podcast. That's the Fantasy Fanalysts, the exact same name here. We're on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher. We're really everywhere. Google Play, wherever you listen, you can go ahead and check us out. With that being said, I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to our first stream here. Eric, take us out.